I spent the last 7 years analyzing over 4,973 Google Shopping ads, and within these 7 years, I was able to not only understand what makes a Google Shopping ad good, but also understand what separates a brand that's struggling with Google Shopping placements, that's struggling to get their brand within the top 5 to top 10 listings, versus those brands that easily are able to rank multiple of their products within the top 5 to top 10 listings. So in this video, I want to break it all down for you, go over the bad ads as well as the good ones, so you understand what is the perfect approach you can now take with Google Shopping going into 2026 and onwards. But from this kind of 7 years of studying and these over almost 5,000 ads in total that I studied, I understood that only a small percentage of e-commerce brands truly follow the patterns that actually lead to consistent growth, because lo and behold, actually cracking Google Shopping ads, actually ranking high, it's all about a consistent pattern. It's all basically broken down into specific steps you can take to make it happen. It's not luck, it's definitely not magic, it's actually some exact steps which you can take for your brand. Doesn't matter what niche or industry you are in. Now, what you want to understand, the reason why most brands struggle with Google Shopping placements or even to rank high is because they treat Google Shopping ads, meaning the actual product feed, the ad copy, meaning the product titles, images, Google Merchant Center reviews, promos, etc. They treat this as sort of like a secondary thing where they will get to it when they can, because majority of their attention is actually going towards the actual campaigns, clicking buttons within their campaigns dashboard. And to tell you the truth, campaigns and the overall strategy you take, yes, that's important, but overall right now from what I see, it's maybe 30 to 40% maximum that it impacts your actual ranking and it impacts your actual Google Shopping ad results. The rest, it comes from a properly optimized product feed, product images, titles, etc., especially as we go into the era of artificial intelligence. And 95% of the brands, even right now, they're wasting their budgets going after the wrong things, and they're just not taking the time to really see what the Google Ads algorithm wants, what it wants for them to rank high within Google Shopping placement. So what I want to do is I want to go over a few ads here that I have pulled up, which are all bad examples of ads from well-known brands, from big brands spending thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars per month in ad spend. Now, first kind of search that I did was for light gym shorts for women. Very broad keyword, cold traffic keyword, and majority of these brands, besides one major brand which I'll go over very shortly, has Google Shopping ads twisted. They don't approach Google Shopping ads with the right approach. They don't have the right strategy in place, and as a result, majority of these brands, doesn't matter if it's the first page, second page, or third page, they're blending in. There's only one major brand which has this done right, which is Gymshark right here. Now, all of these other brands, what's the issue with them? First and foremost, this is a very competitive niche with products that are basically identical to each other, besides maybe the size, the texture, the color, so on and so forth. So very surface level differences. But overall, with the product images and everything in between, the titles, pricing, etc., it's in the same general area. The titles have similar keywords, the pricing is similar to each other. Some brands have reviews, some brands don't, but these are all very basic kind of differences. The major issue that these brands are doing wrong, which Gymshark is doing right, starts with the product image. What you want to understand is if you're in a very competitive niche, or just in general even, doesn't have to be competitive, your product image is the first viewpoint and first kind of connection you get with your ideal customer. So what that means is if your product image is off, you already lost the battle before you even started. And what do majority of these brands do? Sure, they may have the product image in a certain kind of light. They may have a specific woman, a specific model wearing it in a certain way. But overall, all of this is blending in together because there is no distinguishing factor that changes these products from one another. All of them essentially have a specific model in there turned backwards towards the camera, looking the other way and just showing the shorts and wearing the shorts essentially. But here's the beautiful thing about Gymshark. They understood this, and to stand out, instead of just having the same generic approach as everybody else, even if these brands are selling the highest quality products, they're not standing out. And Gymshark understood this, so what they did is they had the model face towards the camera and have maybe a product shot done where it's further away from the camera to give more dimension to the overall product, more dimension to their overall approach. And they made their background a different color compared to the other ones who are either darker or plain white, simple, or gray and boring. So small individualistic changes like this help Gymshark not only stand out, but become a multi-billion-dollar brand. Second kind of approach here that has a lot of bad Google Shopping ads is the flannel shirt for men. Now, if you look right here, again, similar approach. A lot of these flannel shirts are either worn by somebody in a real lifestyle background, or it's in a plain white simple background. What happens in a situation like this is you end up simply blending in and becoming just one another shirt on display. And because your competition is side by side, you have already lost the battle when you blend it in. So the major brands here do it wrong because they're not really distinguishing themselves. For example, there's only one brand that actually stood out, and it's this one, but unfortunately it's on the second page for a variety of different reasons that go beyond just the product image. So this is another key thing you want to keep in mind, that with Google Shopping, it's not just about the product image. You do need to have the right product titles, Google Merchant Center reviews, promos, etc., the attributes in the back end filled up, which is, by the way, where we see a lot of success coming for a lot of the brands we work with, which if you run a brand doing $50,000 or more per month in revenue, you need some extra help scaling to the next level with Google Ads. Go onto my website at yourmarketing.com, schedule a completely free call with me, and let's see how we can potentially work together and make that happen. But a bunch of these products and a bunch of these brands are just horrible entry points with Google Shopping, and they're most likely getting mediocre results simply because none of these are truly standing out. So, of course, there can be ways to stand out, such as having a different colored product, but that goes beyond just the Google Shopping placement itself. That goes deeper into business fundamentals. Third problem that I see often why most brands fail, again, blending in with their competition. Doesn't matter if your product does something extra, doesn't matter if it's the cheapest product. If you blend in, if you lose, and this flamethrower example is perfect for this. I mean, all of these products are simply blending in, but then there comes this brand with a simple yet different view for a similar product. That's literally all you need to make Google Shopping ads work. So now that we covered the bad ads, let's take a moment to now actually cover also some good examples on what a good ad with Google Shopping should look like, so you can kind of do something similar. Now, first example, I've gone through this example multiple times. It's for the 16-ounce plastic bottle. Beautiful example, because without doing much, without really going out and doing extra photography or spending thousands of dollars, all this brand did right here, and it's very simple to see what I'm talking about. All they did is put a plastic bottle, the same one that could have been like this or this or this approach. They took that plastic bottle, put an orange liquid in there, orange juice or whatever it may be, put a green cap on, and they were able to immediately stand out from everybody else without having a crazy offer, without doing any extra things in the back end, without hiring a CRO specialist, none of that stuff. Just this one singular approach was enough to make the brand stand out. Second example, wooden table lamps. Now, in certain situations, you might find that it's actually very difficult to find a way to stand out, especially in situations like this where all of your products are basically unique, all of them stand out, and there's no real distinguishing factor for your product that you can do. Either you can put it on a plain white background, or you can make it maybe a different angle, different size, different attribute, portrayed attribute kind of zoomed in on, etc. But sometimes all you need to do is, everybody has a square image for their products. You can come in with a vertical image like this brand did right here. It's a very small, minute difference. However, it does the trick. Third example right here of a good product is essentially patio umbrellas. Now, again, similar situation where everybody's either having a plain white background image or it's a lifestyle image. So what do you do in a situation where there's a 50-50 mix? Well, again, you need to focus on a different attribute of that product. This is not necessarily the best way to go about selling this patio umbrella. However, it's different, it's unique. It makes you wonder if what this product is, and if you're in the market, it might even make you want to click on it, because this is adding curiosity. You don't know how the real product looks like or the entire umbrella looks like, so now you might want to click on it to actually get a better idea, so on and so forth. Then this might not even be the right product to rank for this keyword. However, that's besides the point. The main thing you want to understand is focusing on different attributes of your product is what allows that scale. So out of over 4,000, 5,000 ads that I've studied now in similar manners, I studied that the ones that scaled had one thing in common. They focused on efficiency before expansion. So this goes into the actual efficiency of your product feed. What these brands understand truly is what their competition is doing, number one. Number two, what their users want to see, what the perfect customer for that brand. How do they, first of all, speak, what their age range is, what their demographic is, what kind of colors they like, so on and so forth. These are all important factors of the customer ISP, which these brands know about. And then from there, they're able to kind of optimize the product feed in that manner before going into the scaling tactics, because there are so many different scaling tactics that you can implement that actual scale with Google Shopping placements, actually ranking high, having multiple products rank high. It does not boil down to your actual campaign strategy. It boils down to how good your landing page experience is, how good your CTRs are, and how good your quality score is, which ultimately is influenced by landing page experience, the CTRs, so on and so forth. And this is exactly kind of what we see for a lot of the brands behind it. But kind of the key things you want to get from this video and overall main key points is, number one, you want to start off by auditing your product feed, because if you are scaling right now, which is great, but if you're struggling to scale the profitability, if you're struggling to scale the revenue, whatever it may be, you need to start from the ground up, the foundation up with your product feed. You need to re-strategize around your product titles, your product images, most important of all, and then the Google Merchant Center backend, such as the product feed attributes, the different types of dimensions, sizes, colors, so on and so forth that you have added. After you do this, only then should you be focusing on the campaign strategies. Then what we normally do is we like to focus on campaign consolidation. Nowadays, having a bunch of different things going on is the quickest way downhill. Rather, you want to have consolidated approaches where you have maybe a select few campaign strategies active at any given time, regardless of the overall goals, and just focus on them, perfecting them before you move on to segregation and more things added within the ad account themselves. Because from my understanding, from what I see that works right now, consolidation is the easiest way to win the Google Ads algorithm, make its life easy so it can go out and find more winning audiences for your brand. And when you ultimately do these first two things, then you can watch the budget distribution, make sure it's getting distributed against your winning products, because a lot of the times as you scale Google Shopping placements, you will notice some of your major products, like the top 20%, take majority of that budget and the rest of the 80% of the catalog just sits there. That's when you implement further segmentation. That's when you go down that rabbit hole and add more things. But keep things simple, work from the ground up with Google Shopping placements. That's at least what I found out after studying over 4,973 Google Shopping ads. But if you run a brand doing 50K or more per month in revenue, you need some extra help scaling to the next level with Google Ads, go on to my website at yourmarketing.com, schedule a completely free call with me, and let's see how we can potentially work together and make that happen.